Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatu iblis wa barakatuh. Are we live right now? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know because StreamYard is acting weird. Oh yeah, it's actually now everything is good. Everything is good. Audio is great. Soha is confirming as usual. Guys, I think I figured something. I have had a revelation. I have had a eureka moment, okay? Oh, hi, Brittany. Hi, David. Hi, Qasem. Hi, everyone. Who else is here? Hi, Selva. I have had this. Okay, so for many years, I always wondered what is it that time and time again there are examples of communists and Muslims getting involved with each other's ideologies and playing footsie with each other and just like getting along and borrowing ideas and just like making new movements that is like communist and Islamic. And like, you guys shouldn't be getting along. Why are you getting along? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you getting along? One of you is materialistic, the other one is superstitious, the other one of you is like atheistic, the other one believes in a god. It just doesn't make any sense. But now I think it makes sense. Now I think, and guys, this is a hypothesis. I'm just putting out there. I'm just putting out there. All right. Not to be, just take it with a grain of salt. But I think the reason why these two, unlikely couples all of a sudden get involved and they're like, they start making out with each other, right? Is because they have a common enemy. Their greatest enemy that they keep getting humiliated by. They just keep trying to fight against it, and they keep getting no, stay in your goddamn place, okay? And because these two are the most toxic ideas out there that has plagued our planet, okay, and they are the most effective at spreading their disease and going viral, okay? I think even though they're such powerful memes, such powerful viruses, both of them, they're still no match for both of their greatest enemy, which is anyone in the live chat? Is liberalism, right? Liberalism is like this undefeated champion of ideas out there that has become so influential in the past couple of 100 years. And these two forces, they keep coming at it, and it just like they lose and they lose, okay? So given how liberalism is taking over the planet, I think like these two ideas are kind of like, hey, let's get together. Look at we share an enemy. We share an enemy. So it's just weird that they get together so often. But I guess common enemies unites different ideologies, right? I mean, you guys know, like we have the MEK, we have the communists in Palestine, we have in Iraq, like all over the Middle East, like all of a sudden they get along for some reason. I mean, they hate each other often, but they also get along, I think, sometimes for bizarre reasons, okay? So what has it got to do? Yes, enlightenment values, exactly, Marco. What has it got to do with what we're talking about today, okay? Because liberalism is under attack again. Raise the alarm. Who's in charge of the alarm bell in the live chat? Who's in charge? Liberalism is under attack, okay? And how many good arguments do we have against liberal values? Anybody in the live chat? How many good arguments do we have against liberal values? Zero! There are zero arguments, zero valid points, zero good arguments against liberalism and enlightenment values. There are zero. Okay? So they be desperate. When they see that they're being like their ideas are crap, like they have the worst ideas on this planet compared to the best ideas in the planet, and they're looking from down there like, oh my God, they be desperate. They be desperate for anything. Okay. So when you look at like when it comes to Islam, okay, when it comes to Islam going after liberalism, I like, eesh, you know, like you pick up your Quran, right? Where's my Quran? You like, liberalism. This is kind of new. What do I have? There's not. This is the Arabic Quran, and you're like looking at it, and you're like, there's nothing here. I don't have liberalism. Allah didn't warn us about. What about hadith? Okay, so this is useless crap. The Quran. What about Hadith Bukhari? Like, what about the Prophet? Did he have anything? No, nothing. No, nothing is liberalism. How do I fight? There's no solutions here. God damn it! This is also useless crap. There is no useful advice for me to go after liberalism. What do I do? What do I do? Then you go and you find the people that are also modern, like another disease, unlike Islam, which is an ancient disease. You go find modern disease that are anti-liberal values. You see, like, oh, can I just borrow some of your, can I steal some of your arguments, right? So it's usually communism, right? So that the Muslims are like, oh my God, yeah, okay. But now it's the wokeism, okay? So they're like, I don't like your trans rights, your gay rights stuff. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. But you have some illiberal ideas. You're like, ooh, I like your anti-science stuff. I like your anti-free speech stuff. I like your market stuff. I mean, there's nothing in our books that has anything against capitalism, but we're just going to pretend that Islam is anti-capitalism for some goddamn reason, because we'd be desperate. All right. So, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys, if you tag me, it better be about exactly what we're talking about, or else you're distracting me and getting me off topic. Do not tag Atheist Republic unless. Oh, look at this. I mean, are you Optimus Prime? Armin, okay, will you debate Danny Boy? Yes, I will debate Danny Boy. Okay, what is this? What are your thoughts on spirituality and mysticism? Is this really the topic of this? Why you be I rely on you guys to tag me on something that I need to address, and you're getting me off topic. All right. Anyways, so with that in mind, again, liberalism is under attack, and we are here to guard it. We are here to raise the alarm, raise the flags. Where's the drums of war? So who's it? We need to have somebody in the live chat that is the alarm, in charge of the alarm. Somebody in the live chat that is in charge of like raising the flag. And you guys, we're new at this, okay? We suck at going to battle, but we have to keep going to battle so we get better at it, okay? So we have another shot being thrown at enlightenment values, and we need to we can't just let it go unanswered, right? We can't we can't. Of course we can't, okay? So let's actually see. There we go. Cool. Let's see what Daniel has to say here. Armin gets yes, I do get distracted. Are you helped distract me? Okay, anyway, it's okay, Pyro. We love you. Okay. Let's start playing. We started with the first 9 minutes, which was mostly about modernity. We did another video about that. The second 9 minutes is mostly about liberal economics and stuff like that, and for some reason we're going to pretend like Islam has a solution, but we'll see.
Technology that has created a modern society.
Wait, where were we exactly?
lonely, more unhappy, more disconnected from
No.
everything that
Nope,
makes
that's not where we
alcohol,
were.
painkillers, and antidepressants to numb the senses, and still
Where do
suicide
we-
rates and drug overdose.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so I think we ended it here last time. What the hell? Okay.
More atomized, more individualistic, and
yes.
ultimately more depressed,
We were here.
more lonely, more unhappy, more disconnected from everything that makes.
So just like a bit intro, he's saying that the modern society is structured in a way that makes us more isolated, more disconnected, more sad, more unhappy. And we basically kind of destroyed that already in the previous live stream. But let's look at some economic stuff.
Life worth living. The human mind naturally shuns such an artificial existence. The only way modern people survive is by constant use of drugs, alcohol, painkillers, and antidepressants.
No, I'm a modern human. I don't drink alcohol. Maybe once every month. I drink alcohol. I don't take any painkillers, antidepressants, and I do not own any ammunitions. And I don't. If I had, I wouldn't just leave it like that on my table.
To numb the senses.
Okay, this is like what the hell this guy is doing. First of all, why does he have? Yeah. Okay.
And
this is not like okay. Look at this. Is this like a common is this a representation of a common modern human? A common modern human? Imagine if you walk into someone's house and you see they have put a gun on the table and they have antidepressants. I mean, what or whatever drugs, and they're drinking alcohol and taking pills, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna step back slowly and I'm gonna call the police as soon as I'm in a safe area. Like this is like most people are not there, and guess what? If they are there, if people are, if you be suffering like this, who do you think has a solution for you? Who do you think has a better solution for you? Okay? Do you think you find a solution to all of these problems in Islam? Again, I like how he keeps pointing at problems, but there's no solutions to any of these in Islam. The solutions that you could find is through the scientific method, through trial and error, which has been gifted to us in a liberal society, in a place where ideas can be challenged and tested through liberal science. The best solutions to all of this is, again, given to us. Again, it's not perfect. We're not there yet. Not everything has been solved, obviously, but we are better off, obviously. Not all these problems that he's addressing could only be found. You could only find solutions to them in the things that he's condemning. And he's complaining that everything hasn't been solved 100% already. That's his complaints.
Alcohol, painkillers, and antidepressants to numb the senses. And
yeah, I mean, numb the senses. You don't have to worry about numbing the senses when your head is detached from your shoulders under Islamic Sharia.
Still, suicide rates and drug overdose deaths have been climbing year after year.
Okay, so obviously there's more drug overdoses compared to the non-modern human because there weren't that many drugs back then, and this is definitely a major problem that the liberal world is trying to find a solution to, and Islam has no solution to. But let me teach you guys what the trick here is, okay? Actually, let me play it a little bit more because you guys told me not to pause as much.
Modern unhappiness is truly unique.
Modern unhappiness is truly unique. Okay, guys, pay attention here. So yeah, I should keep playing.
Perhaps most telling is what's called the happiness income paradox. Contrary to the materialists, happiness doesn't increase when income increases. When the happiness levels and income levels in dozens of countries around the world are tracked over a long period of time, it becomes evident that more material wealth does not equal more happiness. But other studies paint a darker picture. Once basic needs are met, a person's happiness is strongly correlated with perceived social rank and relative status.
Did you guys catch that? Did you catch the trick that was played here? Did you guys catch it? It's important that you pay attention, okay? Did you guys catch what just happened? One more time.
Equal more happiness, but other studies paint a darker picture. Once basic needs are met, a person's happiness is strongly correlated with perceived social rank and relative status. In other words, how rich are you compared to other people?
Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Did you catch it? The disclaimer, the most important disclaimer, the important disclaimer was this.
Darker picture. Once basic needs are met.
Once basic needs are met. He just threw that in there as if that's a small detail. Like, oh yeah, once the basic needs are met, then after that, your income does not increase, your wealth increasing does not make you happier. But do you guys understand how important this once basic needs are met are? Do you know why this is not like a small thing once basic needs are met? Because the increases in happiness in the modern world is mostly associated with its ability to have brought basic needs to millions and millions of people. After that, yes, wealth increasing does not really make you that much happier. But what the modern world has done for many people is pulling them out of poverty and giving them food and shelter. This whole, oh yeah, once basic, that's not like something that you just throw out there. Like, oh yeah, once basic needs are met. You mean the thing that we celebrate, modernity and liberalism and enlightenment methods, the enlightenment values and the scientific process? You mean the main jewel, the main prize of all of these ideas and how it has made so many people better off? That just, oh yeah, once basic needs are met. Yeah, after that, then your wealth increasing doesn't make you happier. No I can't swear, hey? Goddamn YouTube. You know what I was about to say. Once basic needs are met. Yeah, after that, your wealth increase. No. Okay, actually, I think Marco is saying the same thing. He's making SHIT up. Happiness doesn't increase with more wealth after you have an income around 8,000 euros per month. That's what the study shows. Yeah, but he is saying that once basic needs are met. Once basic needs are met. Guys, let me tell you, for those of you who are slow, for those of you who are like a little bit on the dumb side, which is okay. Not everyone has to be that smart, okay? But I got you. I got you, okay? If your mind is not processing what I'm trying to tell you, okay? Let me just come up with an example, okay? Imagine if I have you tied up in my basement and I sexually abuse you every day and nobody knows about this, okay? And you're just my like prisoner, okay? And this is your life. This is your life now, okay? And it's horrible, okay? It's not the kind that you like, it's the kind that you hate, okay? And you have to deal with that every day. And Susanna shows up and she figures this out. She finds that like I have like this hidden door and nobody knew, but Susanna figures it out, and she comes and she frees you, and she calls the police, and I go to jail, and now you're a free person. Okay? And then, but you are like mentally scarred for a couple of years, and you go and you get some help, and you get some mental experts, and I don't know, they talk to you. I don't know what they do, whatever they do, and they help you. You recover. Like 5 years down the road, you're okay now. You're not completely okay. I mean, I did so many bad things to you that you're always gonna have that like scar there. Okay. But you're better now. You're so much better now. You're like functioning like a normal human in society, and you wanted to pick your life up where you left it off, and now you apply in you college. You want to see like maybe you could find a new career path, and you go to college, and then you go online and you see like there's Econ 101. And you're trying to take this course because it matches your time slot, but there's 2 professors that are teaching the same class, and you're like trying to decide if you should go with Professor A or Professor B, and you're looking at ratemyprof.com and see which one of these professors has a better review, and you're like, that professor is better, but this one matches my time a little bit better, okay? That one is like an inconvenient time, so you go with the professor that has like a little bit of a lower rating, and you're like, it should be fine. And then you go to class and you hate the prof. You just hate the prof. It's so boring, and you hate yourself. You just hate yourself for choosing this Prof B. You're like, why didn't I go with Prof A? And you're like sitting in class, and this person is just talking in a way, and you have no idea what he's saying, and he's such a horrible prof, and you're just so angry with yourself that you pick Prof B over Prof A. Okay? You're just so angry with yourself. And you think to yourself, you know what? If I was in that basement, if Susanna didn't save me, if I was still stuck in that basement being tortured every day, I wouldn't be angry with myself for picking this Prof B right now. I wouldn't be angry with myself. And this is just Susanna's fault, isn't it? I wouldn't have to deal with this crap, being so angry, having to listen to this prof right now, if I was tied up in Armin's basement and Susanna didn't free me, and I was being tortured every day. God damn it, Susanna. God damn it, Susanna. What? This is a new problem that I have to deal with. This is a problem that I have to deal with because of Susanna freeing me from all my shackles. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? These modern problems exist. You looking at somebody having a Ferrari and you don't have a Ferrari, and you go home like, why don't I have a Ferrari? I'm sad that I don't have a Ferrari. These are modern problems that you get to have because you are full. You have food on your freaking table. Like, oh, people be sad. People be sad because they're comparing their lives to other humans. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Trey likes my analogy. Guys, these be modern problems. But as they say, as the meme says, as the wise meme says, modern problems require modern solutions. They do not require ancient solutions from the Goat Herder's Guide to the Galaxy. They don't require solutions from prophets 1400 years ago and other sacred people that had no idea how anything works. And they just wrote stuff down, and we're just going to trust them for no goddamn reason.
Relative status. In other words, how rich are you compared to other people? Research shows that relative wealth and comparative status play a dominant role in people's happiness levels. This is why a millionaire, despite all his wealth, can still be very unhappy if his social circle is filled with billionaires. And why a billionaire can feel very unhappy if his social circle is filled with mega billionaires.
You know how we know this? You know how we know this, by the way? First of all, you have to put this in context, okay? These are these people that are having these sadness of comparing themselves to other people. This is a problem that is far, far, far less of a stress than the stress of, oh yeah, my fourth child died in childbirth, and oh, her mother died this time as well. God damn it. Yeah, we drank the only source of our water is also killing us apparently. And oh, I have a toothache, and I'm gonna have to go through a procedure that is literally defined as torture just to get rid of, so that my entire mouth doesn't get infected, because there's no anesthetics yet, right? So that's why he had to say these studies show that these levels of unhappiness exist relative to each other, after you ignore the fact that, yeah, people are a lot happier because of their basic needs are being met. After you take when you put that aside, then yes, then people's happiness are not going up and down that much because of wealth. Okay, so you have to put this all in context. Okay, and even after all of that, we know about this paradox. We know that this is the case. You know how we know that this is the case? Do you know how we know that all of these things that he's referring to? You're like, oh, guys, look at this research. Look at this research showing this and that. Do you know how we know that? Because of liberal sciences. Because of modernity, which has the tools and the methods and the processes that could actually measure things and analyze them in a critical way and provide the conclusions for you to take and misuse like this idiot for free. This is let me show you why modernity is bad, while using modernity, using the tools of modern society to come up with the best knowledge creation process that the world has ever seen. Like, where would you get all this information from if it wasn't from modernity? We get to take actions in solving these problems only because in the modern world, these problems are visible to us because of the modern processes, because of the scientific method.
The paradox here is that a person can endlessly increase his wealth. But if those around him are increasing their wealth at a faster rate, then he'll eventually become less happy over time. This phenomenon is referred to as the relative income hypothesis. What researchers have found is that it's a part of human nature that people who have higher status than those around them naturally feel more confident, have higher self-esteem, and are more happy. This is even seen in the animal kingdom. By contrast, those with lower social status have higher levels of depression, stress, paranoia, and mental illness. This has huge implications for how we understand the connection between happiness and the economy. If people's happiness is so closely tied to relative status, then a constantly growing modern economy is much more a source of despair.
So look, now he's coming up with conclusions that this research, he's like, oh, guys, this is why you shouldn't come up with your own conclusions that the research papers don't show. Okay. So now he's trying to come up with a slippery slope way of getting into some extreme situations. They're like, oh, so if you're more wealthier, and if more people are wealthier, and the space between poor and rich is higher, that makes people more stressed because they're comparing themselves to each other, and that increases more stress and sadness. That means wealth is bad, and the more wealth we're going to get on the planet, more people are going to get more misery. Oh my God, wealth is. He came to the conclusion that this actual research paper that he's citing doesn't show that wealth is actually a source of despair. Wealth is actually a source of despair. And the more wealthy we're going to get, the more sad we're going to get. That's his conclusion. That's this idiot's conclusion. Guys, I don't know how to explain this to you, okay? Yeah, so here's the thing, okay? The more wealthy societies get, we're going to have less poverty, okay? we have managed to, for some goddamn reason, beyond any economist projection, we managed to get poverty, extreme poverty, below 10%, way ahead of all economist projections, okay? And that's crazy. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, guys, more people, like, both in total number-wise and percentage-wise, there are less people in extreme poverty than anybody ever predicted we would get to, okay? Yeah, and that's people being out of extreme poverty is because of the extreme wealth generation methods that we have came up with technology and capitalism and all of that stuff, okay? So yeah, those people having food rather than and being able to call somewhere home is actually, I will gladly pay the price of being sad, of not having a car as nice as my neighbor, if it means that we live in a world where less people are dying from starvation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm not shedding a tear that you're sad that your car is not as nice as your neighbor's. Okay? I'm so sorry, but I'm happy that more moms look at their children that are alive rather than having to be depressed about, oh yeah, another one of my, oh, a 3-year-old. Wow, I'm not sure. My 3-year-old son, there's no way that I know if you're gonna make it to 5. Probably not. Like, I'm sorry if that is a higher priority for me. Okay, I'm sorry again. So again, when he says that this is gonna cause more despair around the world, that would only be true if you ignore all the happiness created from all this modernity that is responsible for people's basic needs are being met. He himself said that this is, guys, all of this despair only would be true. Like, look at the way his conclusion is working, because he himself said after basic needs are met, then this paradox will be true, will take into effect. So if it's after that, then that means that if the wealth increase, it's not like a one-on-one relation with sadness and despair going up, based on his own thing that he just mentioned just a few seconds ago. Okay, is income inequality a problem that we also need to deal with? Because yes, okay, so we care about the most extreme poor more than anyone else, and that's our highest priority. So I'm sorry if income disparity is not highest on my agenda. The extreme poor is higher on my agenda. But yes, we should also care about this happiness paradox. And at some point, we have to be like, okay, but how do we deal with it as well? Okay, but that's a way third, fourth, fifth priority. Okay, so the sadness that people get is true. It's true that, for example, if I have a hut, and everyone else around me is homeless, I feel happy. But if I have a hut and everybody around me has a mansion, then I feel sad, okay? It doesn't make any sense because in both situations I have a hut. So this comparison does make me sad or happy depending on me comparing myself to the people around me. That is a thing, okay? But at least I have a hut. And the fact that I have a hut is better than me being homeless, okay? So once we address the fact that at least you have a hut, we live in a world that more people have huts rather than homeless compared to before. Now, once we could also consider, like, how do we address the sadness that you get when you compare your hut to somebody that has a mansion? How do we address that problem? But this is a modern problem. I mean, it used to be a problem before now, but it's a bigger problem in modern world compared to before. And whatever solution to that is, whatever solution to this problem is, I guarantee you it's not Islam. It's definitely not Islam.
Than it is of happiness. Just consider the reality of the ever-burgeoning wealth gap, where 1% of the world's people own 50% of the world's wealth. The gap between the rich and the poor is absolutely unprecedented in modern times. And due to the relative income hypothesis, this also means that the levels of unhappiness and depression are also unprecedented.
No, every single data shows that people are better off now. Every single guys, let me tell you something, okay? If anyone objectively goes and looks at the data and tries to figure out, are we better off right now compared to before? The modern human, is he and she better off compared to before? Or you just compare liberal countries and societies to illiberal ones. The data is so overwhelming. It's so it's like looking into the sun. You would be you would be like, yeah, I guess we're better off. But no, if you actually go look it up, you will be so overwhelmed by how better off we are that you will just drop on your knees and you will just imagine yourself pleasuring Voltaire, Adam Smith, and John Locke at the same time. And you will be like, oh yes, spread your enlightenment values in my titties, Voltaire. I wish you were alive so I could thank you properly right now. That's what you would do. You would be forced to drop on your knees and like pretend like Voltaire is alive and you're pleasing him somehow. Okay? You will have no choice but to do that because I owe you this. Everyone in the world owes you this. Okay. This is enough. Hold on. Let me see what you guys are saying. Prophet Muhammad. Wow, celebrity. We have celebrity here with actually our art as the profile pic. Prophet Muhammad is saying Daniel would rather bring the entire planet into abject poverty than admit that his stupid religion has flaws. I don't know if he. Yeah, no, that's not fair. Let's be honest. Let's be not strawman him. Jealousy ought to receive more stigma. No, guys. Okay, Alex, I disagree with you. So jealousy ought to receive more stigma. We feel it naturally, but we treat it as unacceptable emotions. We don't this with other natural emotions. I think it's fine to be jealous. I don't think the solutions to some emotions that we have that is natural is to demonize them. I think the solution, whatever the solution is to accept that it's there and deal with it somehow. I don't think we should demonize any of our natural desires or emotions. Yeah, I think Brittany got it right. My mom says jealousy is normal, but there are ways you can change your perspective so you don't have it. I don't know what the solution. If you guys be jealous, if you guys keep comparing instead of like, I know like the best methods that people give that works for me, for example, is to compare yourself to where you were before. Okay, instead of comparing yourself to other people. Okay, I don't know if that works for you guys, but that's really helpful to me. Okay, and usually the things that I measure is not really wealth. It's mostly like how much I'm learning, how much more efficient I'm becoming, how good I'm doing with my workout. Like those are the things that I measure, and I usually try to measure it. I mean, I look at other people for inspiration, but when it comes to progress, I fail sometimes. I try to compare myself to myself rather than to other people. Okay, and whenever I fail at not comparing myself, not feeling like, oh, I'm so far behind, I forgive myself. I don't blame myself for my wiring of my goddamn brain. Okay, so I don't always feel guilty. No, I don't make myself. I love myself enough not to make myself feel guilty. But I have these solutions. I have these tricks, and I came up with the process, and it was working very well for me. But whatever the solution is for other people, the way you could figure it out is by actually looking into the people that either different people that. Okay, so here's the thing: if you're yourself not good at reading research paper, right? What one trick is to follow people with different opinions that are looking at the same research. Okay, and just apply Occam's razor to it. But whatever access to information you have and whatever solutions you come up with, you get to find those solutions so much easier today compared to people even 50 years ago, like 20 years ago. Jesus Christ. Like, you have so much access to a wealth of knowledge because of modernity, and finding the solutions to these problems have become so much easier compared to before. And none of these solutions are going to go, none of these problems are going to go away. They're not, but they're better. But we have better tools at addressing them. That doesn't mean we're going to be able to eliminate them. And guess what? Once we solve these problems, solving these problems are going to create new problems that we didn't even know we're going to have in the future. We're going to have problems 100 years from now that we didn't even know that this is going to be a problem. But we should be happy that we have those problems, because the reason why we have those problems is because we solved bigger problems before. These new problems that we're having them because we managed to get rid of much more significant problems. Anyways.
And the salt in the proverbial wound is that media technologies like TV and social media display the lives of the rich and famous in agonizing detail, which only heightens the sense of relative privation in the minds of the
Yeah, but one good thing about media today is that if you know what media is having, you have a lot more better selection of what media you consume compared to before, right? It used to be you turn on the TV and you just see one thing, okay? Now you can subscribe to certain YouTube channels, you can follow certain people on Facebook, and if there's a solution now, right? Now if somebody tells you like, look, listen, follow, if this seems to be having a negative effect on you, you could be like, you know what, I'm just going to unsubscribe to this and I'm going to subscribe to this. You think like you could unsubscribe to people that are showing you their lavish lives and subscribe to people that are giving you how to live on a budget and how to be content with what you have. And even, like I was following extreme minimalist content creators, not because I thought that they had the best solutions, but it made me like, I was never gonna like live like an extreme minimalist, but it was very inspiring to see that somebody who gets to be that happy being that extremely minimalist. I'm like, wait, if this person can live this happy life with so very little, I mean, I should be able to live happier life with less, not maybe this extreme, but I was just using that extreme minimalist person as an inspiration, not even deciding to live like that, right? But all of this is available to you. So you're like, oh, the media is like, no, you can choose what media. This is another beautiful thing about modernity. You can now choose so effectively to follow content creators that you can see scientifically have a better effect on your life and the quality of your life than others, right? And that's why you're subscribed to Atheist Republic, by the way. So subscribe to Atheist Republic. Subscribe. So this is a good channel for you. Okay, it helps you stop being a moron. Like
famous in
hold on.
agonizing detail, which only heightens the sense of relative privation in the minds of the 99%, leading to dissatisfaction and depression on a global scale.
Global scale. Do you hear that dropping?
Consider this paradox.
Look at this. Okay, guys. Then when it comes to like, he's talking about the media like trying to make you feel a certain way, while he's like, look at the editing here, right?
Things like TV and social media display the lives of the rich and famous in agonizing detail, which only heightens the sense of relative privation in the minds of the 99%, leading to dissatisfaction and depression on a global scale.
Did you hear that? Global scale. I mean, for somebody that wants to tell us that we're like being emotionally like manipulated in any way, I mean, isn't this video exactly doing the same thing? I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a technique that people shouldn't be using, but at least be a little bit more self-aware, right? Because I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm not against that, especially if you think you have the right answer and you want to also appeal to people's sense of emotion. I think it's a fair tactic to use, but be self-aware. Don't be like just pointing the finger. We're like, well, I do it as well.
Scale. Consider this paradox. People in developing countries have actually become wealthier in absolute terms over the past century. But despite the increased wealth, their overall happiness has decreased.
Nope. Citation needed. People, the happiest countries on the planet are the most liberal ones. Every single data collection method shows that. You have to go and find like some really obscure happiness measure, like, okay, like, yeah, like, forget starvation, access to healthcare, access to clean water. You have to access to being free, having control over your life. You have to be like, oh, but if I circle this specific, I found a very specific measure. Like I'm cherry picking this measurement method specifically because this is the only one that proves my point. But if I look at every other measurement method, like, come on, guys, do you honestly what? Go look up every single. Maybe we should do a live stream on this at some point. Okay, happiest countries. Every measurement tool shows you. Okay, so that again, it's not the richest countries. It's not It's not GDP. GDP per capita there's a correlation between GDP per capita and happiness. But again, after a certain level, there are other things that come into effect. Freedom, control over your life, having some basic, what is it called? What is that called? I don't know. What is that? I forgot the word that people use. There's some base level needs that are met that you don't have to stress about. There's some role for the government. There are many tools. Guys, there are many studies that constantly measures the best way to make the highest number of people happy. And guess what? None of the solutions is even remotely close to Islam. I mean, come on. And the data actually, maybe we'll do more live streams on this, okay? Because this is an important point. More liberalism. Everything shows that liberalism is the solution. Okay, Islam is the disease. Modernity and liberalism and enlightenment values are the cure. Yeah, safety nets. Thank you. That's what I was waiting for. Thank you, Alex. Yes, Marco is pointing out that Nordic capitalism is basically the key to most happiness for most people. Exactly, Marco. And guess what? They're mostly atheistic countries as well. None of them are Islamic.
How can that be? This is because they experience themselves as poor. Why? Because relative to Western economic growth over the same century, they're poorer in comparison. For example, colonialism and capitalism have without a doubt made the Muslim world and the developed.
Oh yeah, it's because they're oh yeah, okay, yeah. So he's saying, God, again, citation needed. It's like the people. God damn it, guys! This is such a bad take. We have to listen to it one more time, okay? This is such a bad take, okay? Hold on.
On a global scale, consider this paradox.
I didn't expect.
People in developing countries have actually become wealthier in absolute terms over the past century. But despite the increased wealth, their overall happiness has decreased. How can that be? This is because they experience themselves as poorer. Why? Because relative to Western economic growth over the same century, they're poorer in comparison. For example, colonialism.
Okay, pay attention here, okay? For example, colonialism and capitalism.
And capitalism have without a doubt made the Muslim world and the developing world wealthier in material terms than it's ever been. But overall, people in the developing world, in all these countries, feel poorer and feel less happy. Why?
Okay, first of all, citation needed for all of this stuff, okay? Why? And here's this answer with no evidence, with zero evidence. Hold on, but zero evidence.
Because
okay, okay. So people in Islamic countries, they used to be happier because they compared themselves to Europe and their wealth was almost equal,
or even higher.
But
even though they have more absolute wealth now than they did in the past, their relative position compared to the West has dropped.
That is such an insane take. First of all, anybody that studies Islamic history and looks at knows that people in Islamic countries had no idea about life outside of Islamic countries. Even their scholars were uninterested in the European world and they did so very little writing. They consider them just barbarians that are below their below way below their worth being paying attention to. Okay, so if the scholars didn't know much about life in European countries, what do you think average people thought? Or like, yes, I'm happy because my average wealth to the people in Europe, they had no freaking idea where Europe even was. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, they were comparing themselves to Europeans. Are you serious? Are you goddamn okay? So he's saying that people in Islamic countries today are unhappy, even though their wealth has increased relative to before, but they're comparing themselves to European and North Americans. They're like, oh, but I'm sad because we don't have as much wealth as they do. So what are you suggesting, Daniel? Are you suggesting that to make Islamic people in Islamic country happier, the solution is not to help them catch up? The solution is to make North American and Western European countries less wealthy? Like, hey, you guys are too rich. You guys have too much wealth. And I'm sad. I'm sad that you have this much wealth. If only we could stop you somehow from accumulating so much wealth. Maybe stop doing science and modernity. Maybe like remove all this technology. So you guys just slow down. Guys, hey, slow down. Slow down. Your progress is really depressing me. Your progress is depressing the hell out of me. We are so behind. So just calm down. Just chill. Europe, North America, just wait, stop it. Stop it with all this science. Stop it with all this technology. You're too happy. I mean, this is making me sad. This is making me sad. You just wait for the rest of us. For crying out loud, wait for the rest of us. What are we even listening to? God damn. And guys, people listen to this and they think this is wise. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is pure comedy.
Due to colonialism and other factors, the West grew richer at a far greater pace, creating an insurmountable wealth gap. This global inequality generates a lot of unhappiness, paranoia, and depression for poor nations. And by the same token, it generates a lot of happiness. And
by the way, guys, none of this is true, okay? These Arab countries or Middle Eastern countries or African countries, they might be ungrateful because they see other people going faster ahead of them, but they'd be happier. They'd be happier if they could see, again, maybe this whole compare yourself to your past doesn't just apply to you as an individual, maybe also applies to countries as well. Because if they stop comparing themselves to like other countries that are ahead of them, and they compare themselves to, actually no, they shouldn't stop comparing themselves, right? Because then you could see how you could catch up. But if you compare their own history to where they were before and how they managed to be ahead of where they were before, that knowledge of what they got them from there to here will help. That information will get them to be able to progress even faster in the future. Instead of dismissing how they managed to progress this fast and get to where they are and have less hungry people and have more healthcare and have access to more clean water and have less child mortality and have more freedom and have more say over what the government does and have more say over what they get to say without getting the government, like any Islamic government, to come go chop on their heads, right? If they keep looking at like, we're falling behind, but we're better than before. How did we get here? How do we manage to progress this to where we got so far? Can we get the factors that got us here? If we do more of those and less of the things that are keeping us behind, maybe we could progress faster. Maybe we could do more of those things and less of the other things, right?
Satisfaction for richer nations who feel good about being above others. But is the wealth gap between rich
Yeah, so I was saying it's like someone can't get slim, so he or she is trying to get his his or her friend fat. Yes, yes, you're looking at your friend and they're like making so much progress losing weight, and instead instead of like like, hey, maybe I should also like look into like eating better and exercise, then you're like, no, you're like, go to your friend like, hey, all this progress you're making is making me really really sad. You better fatten up. You better stop this diet and exercise. This is really depressing to me. Oh my god, this is the solution, guys. Oh god.
and poorer nations really insurmountable? Can't developing nations eventually catch up to the West and enjoy equal wealth and status? Doesn't a capitalist global economy provide a fair playing field for all? The answer is a resounding no. What theorists like Emmanuel Wallerstein and Thomas Piketty have pointed out is,
by the way, he cherry picks the people that agree with him, okay? Because there's a lot of people that have counterpoints as well. In fact, he himself has the counterpoint. So he's saying that the poorer countries will never be able to catch up to richer countries, and no matter how much they progress, it will always be left behind. Okay. To me, the fact that they're progressing and because matters more than the fact that they're not going to be able to catch up. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Let's say these advanced countries that are at 100, right? And you're at like 20, okay? And you're saying like, well, these poor countries will get to 100 by this year if they do these things, okay? Well, by the time they get to 100, these more advanced countries are at 500. They're at 500, and now the distance is even greater than before. And apparently that's a bad thing. To me, I'm like, yeah, okay, the fact that they're at 500 and you're still at 100, that's a problem that we need to deal with. But you went from 20 to 100 because of modernity, and because of going from 20 to 100, there's less misery in your goddamn country. Like, can we celebrate? Yes, we could address the distance between you and advanced countries and see that as a problem, but can we celebrate the fact that because of modernity, you just went from 20 to 100, and there's way, way less misery because of this? Yeah, people be jealous, but people are not hungry. Okay, yes, jealousy is another problem that we have to deal with, but there's less starvation now in your country. Can we celebrate that? Can we celebrate that, please?
Is that the liberal capitalist model does not account for structural inequality. The reason that 1% of the population owns 50% of the world's wealth in an ever-growing wealth gap is not due to sheer hard work and perseverance. The reason that Western nations have had overwhelmingly more wealth and held overwhelmingly more control over the rest of the world for the past few centuries is not due to sheer ingenuity. Rather, there's a clear structural inequality hardwired into global capitalism that prevents other countries from being able to catch up with the West.
I think this is an important point to read Alex's comment. Alex saying lots of anti-capitalist arguments look very similar. This is just armchair philosophy. You can almost understand why they hate science and data taking. It destroys their argument. Perfectly put, Alex. But on top of that, you know what's so amazing about all of this, on top of everything you just said? Is that Islam doesn't even come with anti-capitalism. Islam doesn't even come with anti-capitalism. There's multiple levels of hypocrisy and trickery that is happening, like the old switcheroo, okay? Here's like, there's multiple, like, look over there so I could pull the card out of my, this is like a pulling a rabbit out of a hat trick, okay? So there's multiple switches that is being happening here, okay? You have to pay attention. First of all, we already know that this whole anti-capitalist nonsense is like moronic. But what's happening here is, first of all, capitalism, or whatever Adam Smith was only one of the main thinkers of Age of Enlightenment. Okay, but going after capitalism, they're trying to like switch it between like, oh, capital. overconsumption, obsession over consumerism is not necessarily like capitalism doesn't come with the promotion of consuming beyond what you need. Okay, capitalism is like a idea of measuring, coming up with the best policies. In fact, there are measurements of stuff that has external. Yeah, actually, if you study Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, there are clearly indications that there are some types of consumption that has negative effect on society, and the role of the government is to come and tax them, or in other ways to limit them because of the negative impact they have on society. So this idea of consumerism damaging your environment or other humans, and that's what capitalism promotes. It didn't even promote that from the very beginning. It understood that within when two people are making a trade, there's negative impacts on people that are not involved in the trade, and if those there are positive impacts and there are negative impacts, and if there are negative impacts, then the government has a role to step in and reduce them, right? So this idea, so there's a switching between like, consuming without any limitations, this is bad for society, and that's why capitalism is bad. Like, well, you're using those interchangeably as if they're the same thing. But then there's another switch happening, is like, over consumerism, and this is what liberalism promotes. And there's nothing in liberal thought that promotes you consuming things that are not good in your best interest. There's nothing in there. But then all of a sudden, this whole problem that we have with people not understanding what to consume and how to use their labor, or how to use the rewards of their labor in the way that interests them the best, they kind of make it seem like this is a problem with liberalism, and they're not related. In fact, liberalism is liberal sciences are the best methods to come up with solutions to this. So that's one switch that is happening right in front of your eyes. Another switch that is happening right in front of your eyes is to pretend that there's anything in Islam that says anything about this. Like, if you study Islamic finance or Islamic economics, and what Islam says about any of this, that you don't come up with an impression that it's anti-capitalism. There are maybe a few things that you could be like, this is actually pro-capitalism, and there are maybe a few things that be like, hey, maybe some socialists would be liking this a little bit more. But there's a whole bunch of crap that any serious economist would look at, would be like, yeah, this is insane. If we make this the law of the land, no society will be able to survive one generation. If you like, there's nothing inherent within Islam that says like, yeah, capitalism bad. I mean, guys, we're talking about a religion that says we could have slave markets. Like, this is a religion that says like you could buy and sell slaves. You could go into war and you could capture people as booty and then go auction them off in the slave market. You think this is an anti-capitalist religion? Like, that's another switch that is happening in front of your eyes.
Sociologist Emanuel Wallerstein points to the fact that because the technological revolution began in the West, they were able to accumulate a great deal of capital. Using this capital, they were able to invest more into research and development, R&D, more so than other nations, which led to more innovation, better products, more high-tech products.
Imagine saying this as if this is a negative. Imagine like making a video and you're like, better technology, more high-tech products. You're like, oh yeah, wow, so evil, so scary.
Other nations couldn't compete with this, and so
other nations are benefiting from the technology in the other countries. Guys, do you know how many people in Africa are benefiting from higher access to information, for having laptops, for having cell phones, for the technology that makes their water clean because of Western society coming up with processes that makes their water cleaner, okay? Like, with how many people in Africa are now safe from disease because of vaccines? Like, what are you talking about? Okay, yes, they're not going to be able to catch up. By the way, they will, and you'll see why at the very end. But let's say they will never be able to catch up. They be benefiting though. They be benefiting, guys. The internet is available to the whole globe, and it came out of the United freaking States. Okay, computers, vaccines, everything, like education, Like, are you serious? Like, these people, all of these people are benefiting for Enlightenment values, even if they never catch up, even if they're never going to be equal. Their lives are better because of this. Like, they're locked into low tech economy. No, they're not locked in. They're going to be able to liberate themselves because of the science, because of the technology, because of the liberal values, because of Enlightenment values. They will be able to unchain themselves. They will be shackled free from poverty one day only because of these ideas and these methods and these values. The fact that they might never be able to be as advanced as these other countries doesn't mean that they're going to be stuck in poverty forever. They will. I guarantee you that that poverty will be one day no more, and it will be only thanks to science and technology and nothing else. Nothing else will eradicate poverty.
They were locked into a low-tech economy relative to the West, where they're producing low margin, low.
You might be asking me, how is it like? I say even if they never catch up, even if they never become equal, okay? Even if in that situation, I think it's still worth it. It's still all of it is still worth it. However, there's a way, and that might be a little bit crazy for you, a lot of people, but I think there's going to be a way one day where they're all going to reach the same level, okay? And you'll see, and I'll tell you how.
Low-tech goods and raw materials. Meanwhile, the Western nations create better, higher tech goods and sell those at higher margins, which brings more profit, which they can invest.
Actually, they're trying to keep figuring out. Actually, the R&D is helping them figure it out how to create it at lower cost, and lower cost actually means that more people will have access to it. That's what the R&D is doing.
Higher tech goods and sell those at higher margins, which brings more profit, which they can invest.
Market saying worldwide universal basic income. No, that would not make everybody equal. But I would like that. Brittany saying that's a good point, Armin. Of course, all my points are good. Money doesn't always provide happiness, but the Africans are happy. They have vaccines. Yes. I mean, a lot of them, the ones that are not happy that they have vaccines are the ones that have been given pseudo scientific information. Again, every time you go away from science, you get misery.
More R&D, more innovation, and the vicious cycle continues. This is a
vicious cycle. Imagine being so ungrateful to how much better lives have become to call it a vicious cycle.
Structural inequality that prevents other countries from catching up.
It's not preventing them from catching up, it's lifting them up. Guys, what other force on this goddamn planet lifts up countries from poverty than science and technology? Has there ever been any force in the goddamn universe that has managed to lift countries out of poverty more than capitalism to science and technology? There's nothing else. And the same tools and the same method that is pulling countries out of poverty, he's accusing them for locking them in poverty. How out of touch with reality that you have to be to accuse the very methods that is lifting people out of poverty, accuse them of locking countries into poverty. You're like so. This is insanity. This is completely insane. And people take this guy seriously as a wise commentator.
More innovation, and the vicious cycle continues. This is a structural inequality that prevents other countries from catching up. The modern wonder of progress and constant economic growth is actually a modern nightmare that keeps the majority of the world's population in a perpetual state of inferiority. Isn't mankind supposed to live free? Maybe freedom is exactly the problem here. The whole purpose of endless technology and endless consumption is to give us more and more freedom. The life of inconvenience and perpetual toil of our ancestors is no more. Now we can live comfortably with all our needs, food, shelter, sex, entertainment, literally available to us at the touch of a button. And if a button is too taxing, just give voice commands. But even this is not good enough. Even this is not as convenient as possible. What if chips could be implanted in the brain so that we can order the pizza with our thoughts? But then we would have to chew the food, quite a chore. What if we could just automatically inject the nutrition of the pizza into our bodies and then virtually simulate the sensations of enjoying a pizza? But then why allow a clunky body to limit our freedom in the first place? Why not technologically enhance our bodies, or better yet, ditch our bodies altogether by uploading our consciousness into the cloud so that we can exist in a state of perpetual cybernetic bliss? Isn't this the logical end of freedom? Freedom realized to its fullest potential?
Yes, this is great. This is exactly how we will achieve. This is how we will get to a position where everybody is at the same level. This is the only way. It's the only way. This is the only way. This is what I was referring to. This is fantastic. Like, yeah, hey, okay, so if you could imagine the world advancing to a place where you actually have microchips in your brain and you could communicate. Your brain is connected to the internet and you could process information at such a high level that your mind goes through libraries of information through minutes, and that you could see the fallacies and the logical inconsistencies in your positions within half a second. And imagine you get to a place like that, and he thinks that that level of technology is insignificant because, hey, who wants to be able to order pizza with their mind? I mean, do you understand that if you could order pizza with your mind without talking or picking up the phone or going online and using your fingers, do you understand the consequences of that is not just a mere fact that you could order pizza with your mind? Do you understand that now you live in a world where you get to experience things that was unimaginable for your ancestors, that you get to be beyond worrying about wealth inequality, about nutrition, about your limitations of your body, about disease? And you think like that's insignificant because who wants to be able to order pizza with their mind? Like, are you serious? You think that is why we're going to make that technology? Like, do you know what it's like to live in a world that you don't have to worry about your heart failing? That you don't have to worry about your mom getting cancer? And he thinks that is insignificant because, oh yeah, who wants to be able to order pizza with their mind? This is basically how we will achieve. This is how science and technology will achieve everything that religions and dogmas like communism promised us, and they never were achieved. This is how science, technology, and capitalism will get us to a place, even without that it didn't even promise. Okay, this is how science, technology, and capitalism will get us the promises of religion and communism, the promise of a heaven, and the promise of the utopia from communism. It will get us there without ever even promising it to us. Yeah, I mean, exactly, David. What the fuck? All of this is great. What the hell is he talking about? Like, imagine selling this as a nightmare with like scary music. He's describing heaven. Fatima saying, "Can I also be fit?" You could have anybody that you want in this virtual reality. Okay, but guys, how could this be sold as a nightmare? I don't understand. This is the ultimate goal.
But of course, this freedom would also mean no more human body and no more.
No more. It means no more disease, no more sickness, no more pain. Yes, I am a liberal capitalist. Hold on.
potential. But of course, this freedom would also mean no more human body. And no more human body means no more soft touch of another's warm embrace.
No, it doesn't mean that. You could experience another warm's touch, soft touch of another's warm embrace. Guys, if you are living in a virtual reality, okay, and in this virtual reality you have a son, and your son comes to you and you hug your son and you feel your son in your arms and you're enjoying that emotion, you're both enjoying that emotion, you could be like, well, that's not real, that's virtual reality. As opposed to what exactly? As opposed to the real world where information is also being processed through electric signals to your brain. Like, what exactly? I mean, do you think, like, when you look at your child, do you think what you're seeing reflects exactly what's happening over there? Do you understand that what you're seeing is only happening in your mind? It's only the way your brain is processing the matters and waves that is coming through photons to your eyeballs, and the way that the information that is being, basically, it's not any more real than what you're experiencing in the non-virtual reality. The silicon world is as real as the carbon-based world. Okay, none of the information that is being processed in your mind is the distance between the way you're observing and experiencing information in your mind in this carbon-based reality body is as different from what actually is happening in their objective world, is as distant than the distance between the experiences you're going to have in a silicon-based world from what is happening. It's both basically your mind experiencing electrons touching whatever your information processing brain looks like at that point. It's basically the same thing. There's no difference. It's all that your experience that you're having is never going to be objective reality itself, whether you're living in a carbon-based body or a silicon-based world. Trade is saying silicon world sounds cool. Yeah, it's unlimited. It's free. It's a world free of any limitations. Doorknob Head is saying, how about the chocolate-based world? Bacon-based.
No more watching the sunset. No more.
There would be sunsets. There would be sunsets of your own making in that silicon-based world.
No more smelling the rain.
No more smelling the rain. Do you understand the whole idea of uploading yourself in a virtual world is to actually experience all of this at any time you want and more? What are you talking? Imagine me like upgrading yourself to a virtual world and we're like, yeah, we don't have rain in this virtual world and you don't get to experience. What the hell? Why would your virtual world not have rain in it? And why wouldn't you be able to smell the rain in the virtual world? What the hell? Who introduced that? Like, the whole idea of a virtual world is so that it's freeing and you get to experience more, not less. Why would you offer yourself in a virtual world where you don't get to smell the rain?
No more reveling in the joyous laughter of your children.
Why?
No more human life.
Why?
As we know it.
As we know it, yeah. It's a superior life. It's a life with less pain and less misery. It's a life free of disease and pain. It's not going to be no more human life as we know it. It's going to be a much upgraded version of it.
The extinction of the human race.
Well, only because we transition to something better than human race.
Is there another path?
Hopefully not. Hopefully we get there. Guys, I hope we all make it there. That's why you need to exercise and have a proper diet so that you might be one of the people that makes it to when we get there. Maybe. I don't understand. There's no arguments for that, why that was a bad thing. There were no I didn't see any reason why that's bad. Okay. We did good. This guy is so morbid. Yeah, I mean, I mean, imagine me playing the same thing and like same song over something so pleasantly positive, and he's like making it sound like it's evil. It's like I could be like, I don't know, like, this morning I woke up and I saw my love, and she looked back at me and she smiled at me. Du-du-dum. Like, what the hell? You're describing something lovely and positive, and you're making it sound so morbid. Like, oh, technology and science and more advanced way of living and modernity, and you're gonna be free from your body. And you're like, that sounds cool, actually. That sounds really good. That sounds dope. Sign me up. Where do I sign up? Yeah. Deborah is saying this is how you present Islam as the only solution, by trying to make every alternative. I mean, yeah, you're trying to show like every alternative is like really scary, but I think that was a major failure, because what we were supposed to be scared of was like dope. I was like, if the alternative is Islam, like, yeah, none of Islam, please. Give me some of that. Whatever you were trying to scare us. Yeah. Afshin, you're the genius. Did you just came up with that yourself? That should be added to the logic. That should be added to the fallacies, the scary music fallacy. Afshin, you're a genius. Did you just came up with that? We're gonna use this every time. Yeah, this is the scary music fallacy. Perfect. I love it. I'm gonna use it. Just wait until the Muslims realize. Guys, let's not talk about all Muslims in a general term, okay? There are many, many Muslims who would not be this morbid and see. Most Muslims I know of are not anti-science and anti-technology, okay? So let's not generalize, okay? Wait until, let's say, like Daniel's followers, okay? Wait until Daniel's followers realize that the virtual world would be like an actual paradise. Yes. But again, let's not talk about Muslims like I'm telling you, most Muslims are not anti-science, they're not anti-modernity, okay? And most Muslims are wrong about Islam, but most Muslims appreciate liberalism. They want to live in free countries, they want to have more freedom, and all that, okay? All right, what else? All right, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have been fun to hang out with. Whoa, David, Gate Point saying in a virtual reality we can have 72 Huris. We should tell Daniel that you could have 72,000 Huris in the virtual world. This is way superior than. And don't come at me like, I don't want 72 Huris. I'll take my Huris. Okay, we can't talk about radicals. I don't know what that means. All right, cool. And guys, increase the size of our army, okay? We're going to war, okay? Don't just subscribe, but do more. You're like, okay, I'm in the Armin army. So what do we do? How do we fight? Okay, get people. Don't just subscribe. Go get me subscribers to this channel. Okay, we're like, this channel needs to grow a lot faster than it is. Okay, so you're okay as a soldier in the Armin army. When we as a guardian of enlightenment values, your next orders are go get people to subscribe to this channel, okay? And half of you, for some idiotic reason, are watching these videos without subscribing. I don't understand. I keep looking at the statistics. It's like, oh, it used to be half. Now it's 40%. But 40% of you are still morons. 40% of you are still watching these videos and like, wow, that was very interesting. And I'm like a much smarter person because of this. And now I've been like, I got a lot of useful information. But I guess this is just one-off video, and the rest of them are dumb for some reason. I just want. No, they're all like this. All of our videos are like this. Every single video is better than the one before it. They're all drops of wisdoms that you will get nowhere else. I'm telling you, enlightenment values, liberalism is under attack, and we're defending them here at the Atheist Republic and nowhere else. So you subscribe, and you get other people to subscribe. Do it. It's hikmah. Do it. And it's also dharma. Do it now.